I'm not interested in women looking very available to me or to like the audience. I was always more interested like aggressive women who you would be more afraid of than feel they were going to do whatever you wanted. Richardson Magazine issue A9, our 20th anniversary issue. Kim Kardashian, cover star, photographed by Steven Klein, interviewed by Bret Easton Ellis. When you make something like this, or like Richardson, I think because of maybe my unconscious or the intention or whatever, that I'm excited by things that will build up this ever contradicting dialogue, narrative within the magazine, so it just gets, it's contradiction, establishing contradiction, And that is, for me, what I like, which is like disrupting. Because I feel that in a way that you know, like for the magazine to really work, it has to, or for me for it to really work, I have to feel super excited when it's finished and also super scared. I was working with Kanye briefly in about a year and a half ago, and I've known him for a long time, and we'd worked on some projects in the past, and so we were working together, and I don't know, like I met her at their house and talked about doing a shoot in Japan, and we wanted to go to Japan to shoot with the cherry blossoms for the magazine, and she was into it, and then we couldn't do that for logistic reasons. So we ended up doing the shoot that's in the magazine that's basically referenced to this movie, Perfect Blue. It's a Japanese animation movie about a famous woman going through a transformation, and it sort of fit. And then I went and met with her and showed her the reference and explained to her why I was doing it and what it was all about. And she was super supportive. Not one, I think there was no trouble at all. You know, there was no like, you didn't have to do, there was no publicist, there was no, it was just you were dealing with Kim, or I was dealing with Kim, and she rolled up to the interview without a publicist, just with her assistant and a bodyguard, and same with the interview, like, you know, extraordinary. No, I mean, I can say just I was, like I said, had met her in person and was impressed by her and saw what I thought was a side of her that I hadn't seen in public. And I was interested in the transformation that she went through sort of after being the robbery in Paris, and how she kind of became more austere, and just that value change, and then the movie Perfect Blue sort of fit the narrative somewhat, or this kind of narrative that I developed. And so we just put it together, and she sort of understood it. I think what I was really impressed with as well is that she very instinctually understood exactly what we were doing immediately, even just on an unconscious level. The images that she responded to, the way the whole, like, it was really like, it was like you were dealing with like a partner in the shoot rather than a subject that you were projecting an idea onto. Like, she was fully participant in the concept. Like, she understood it and was like, and kind of added to it. Had been thinking about the magazine for maybe 2 or 3 years, and had gone through a few different scenarios of how to do it. And like, I didn't even know it was the 20th anniversary of Perfect Blue, the movie. So it's just weird how you just get all this magic. Once you do something that you sort of believe in, I think all these kind of magical coincidences start to happen. Why her? Because she's the most famous woman in the world, and she had a sex tape in the past, and sex and sexuality has always been a big part of her brand equity. The weird thing about the shoot was that, and it was something that not in a million years could you have ever anticipated or predicted, was that Kim was actually on set, naked, shooting a cover, and somebody gave her a robe, and she disappeared, and she was talking to Donald Trump, talking about getting Alice Marie Johnson's clemency. I think it was the final stage of the negotiation, and I thought at some point maybe we were going to lose the shoot. You know, it could have happened, but it didn't happen, and Kim was cool, and she just kept on going, and it just was a weird thing to be in the middle of personally, but you know, I don't know. I mean, yeah, obviously we're living in a very era of social media. It was almost like two social media superstars talking to each other about changing prison reform or whatever. It was, you know, it was weird, but for me it was just like, too much. I was just like, whoa. I probably won't even really understand what it all means for another 3 or 4 months. Some people are going to love it, some people are going to love it, and some people are going to hate it. But I would much prefer to be in a situation where you're either loved or hated than being in a situation where you're somewhere in the middle being nice. I think it's strange for me that you're doing a magazine that was pretty much a personal project and never really was done with the thought of like a big audience, or never really thought of as like something that we were trying to make a lot of money from doing. It was done as like a sort of like a vehicle of self-expression, and it has a lot of stuff in it that will be quite challenging for people that read it, and the idea always is to be disruptive in a way. So it's going to be interesting to see how that the sort of like the complicated aesthetic or the complicated ethos of the magazine will be received when it gets the kind of mass exposure that it probably will get because Kim Kardashian's on the cover.